Hello everyone, welcome to Math 105 Online. My name is Troy Minogue. I'll be your instructor for the course. The plan for today is to talk through the stuff we would talk through if we were meeting on day one of a face-to-face course. Kind of what to expect, where to find things on Blackboard, and talk through the schedule a little bit. So that's kind of the plan. So let's get rolling. I'm on the Start Here folder, which is where you should go and which is where you are at because you're watching this recording. I'll say that more in the email that I send out. My goal is I'm going to run right to the syllabus. I already have it open, so I'm going to jump down here and grab the syllabus. Syllabus is our contract, what I can expect from you, what you can expect from me. So pretty important that we run through it. There's my phone number. Prefer email. Email is the easiest way to get a hold of me where we're not worried about waking people up and that kind of stuff. But if you do need to contact me, emergency type stuff, my phone is fine. Prerequisite stuff, I'm going to skip all that section there. You can read all that. Textbook. Textbook is not required. Textbook is optional. Most students find they don't need it. Some do like the extra explanations, the extra practice, that kind of stuff. So if you find yourself needing it, definitely order it. You can order the online version. So what some people are doing is waiting a few weeks into the semester, making sure they don't need it. And if they do need it, they can order the online version. If you're one who can read on a computer screen, if you want a print copy, you have a little harder decision. You kind of need to make that one pretty quickly, just so you have it in your hands. But that's up to you. xyztextbook.com is where you can find that textbook. I'm not sure if Amazon has it. I would imagine so, but XYZ Textbooks has the online version and all that. If you do decide to purchase the textbook, there's a lot of online resources. There are videos made by students, videos made by the author, some practice tests. There are some good resources. That's up to you whether you want it or not. So there's that part. Instructor feedback or response time. Excuse me. If you email me, contact me sometime throughout the week. If it's late in the day, it won't be until the next morning. But if you contact me like at 10 o'clock in the morning, most likely I'll get back to you the same day, but for sure by the next morning. If you contact me on Friday at like 5 o'clock, probably not going to hear back from me on Monday, but I do check my email every once in a while on the weekend. I purposely try not to work on the weekend, but I definitely at times will just peek at my email and I'll reply. So if you email me Friday, Saturday, Sunday, expect something by Monday, but it could be sooner. If you have a homework question, homework is due typically at Sunday night at midnight. And if you email me Sunday afternoon and you hope to get a response, don't count on it. Okay? So just make sure if you have homework questions, you are getting those answered throughout the week. Okay, you can read the rest of that. The regular and substantive interaction. So here's what you can expect. We'll have optional Zoom meetings once a week, and we'll set that day. I typically have been doing it on Tuesday afternoons, but I'll kind of do some polling and researching, make sure that's kind of a good day for everyone, including me. Make sure I don't have any classes or meetings at the time I typically have it. Also, you can expect that I will send out announcements as needed. I'll do check-ins, periodic check-ins, making sure you're aware of deadlines, especially the first 2 weeks. I'll be doing a lot of announcements. I do email all of my announcements, so you'll get them through your email. The other thing that you need to make sure you're doing is checking Blackboard as far as where are the resources, and we'll talk more about that later. But far as just like interaction, you can expect is just constant checking in. I will check in with you, and you need to be making sure you are contacting me if you have questions. Don't wait for 3 weeks to get your questions answered. The term is not that long. I know 15, whatever it is, 15, 16 weeks seems like a long time, but it's not. It goes really fast. So just make sure you're getting questions answered. I am here. This is not a correspondence course. This is an online course where you have me as a resource. Make sure you utilize that. Email me with questions and I will get back to you. If you find you're not being able to make the Zoom meetings, you can always email me with questions and I can do those questions during the Zoom meeting and I'll record them. Zoom meetings are typically not very well attended. Usually out of 60 students, I'll have 4 at the most, sometimes 5, sometimes 1 or 2, and sometimes nobody. If there is nobody at the Zoom meeting after a half hour, I do leave. I'm not going to just sit there all night long waiting for someone to show up. So that's kind of my time frame. We'll talk more about that later as we get close. Okay. That kind of class participation, student attendance, I'm going to skip that. Homework. So what is homework? So homework you're going to do every week, well, every chapter, which most of them are 2 weeks, and I'll point out the ones that are not. Well, let's just go there right now. So here's what we got down at the bottom. So the first week of class, first 2 weeks of class, we're working on chapter 8. So you have 2 weeks for chapter 8, you have 2 weeks for chapter 9, you have 1 week for chapter 10, and 1 week for chapter 11. Okay, those chapters are a little bit smaller, so I've made them only a week long. Here's my strong suggestion. Since chapters 8 and 9 are 2 weeks long, I would try to get ahead if I were taking this class. So I give myself like a week and a half on chapter 10 and maybe a week and a half on chapter 11. Try to buy yourself an extra week in the chapters 8 and 9. Okay. I would do that, but I would like in the deadlines, but I would like to kind of keep the homework being submitted on the same day so you have some consistency, which is why I have 2 weeks for the first 2 and only 1 for the next 2. But you can always work ahead, which would be highly suggested. All right, so you can see there's 2 units. Unit 1, so here's my unit 1, chapters 8 through 11, and then we take a test. Unit 2 is chapters 12, 13, 14, and then we take a test. It's not really a midterm and a final. I know it appears like it is, but it's just the first unit and the second unit. The first 4 chapters and then the last 3. Yeah, we'll talk about that more as we get there. So there's kind of your schedule, and there's the due dates just listed as due dates. I would highly encourage you to print that page. I like paper. If you just want to transfer it over to a electronic calendar, whatever you need to do to make it work. But there is the homework dates. I'm going to jump over to Blackboard. In Blackboard, here's where you find your assignment. So like I said, the class is divided into 2 units, Unit 1, Unit 2. Unit 1, we have chapters 8 through 11. Here's your chapter 8 homework. So you don't need a textbook. Everything is printed. So you just click on that. Excuse me. And here's your questions. Notice they are all multiple choice. That is not because I'm lazy. That is because I used to do where people would just do the homework problems like normal and then submit it to me. I would grade it and hand it back. Homework can be submitted twice. So the problem with that concept I found, it was great because I could give feedback, I could circle where you made mistakes and so on. But the problem is people were submitting homework on like Saturday afternoon and I wouldn't have time to get graded before Sunday, before another attempt could be made by Sunday night. The alternative is not so great on the feedback, but it is great on you getting quick or answers to whether you did it right or wrong, and then you can go back and redo it. Okay, so that's why they're multiple choice. Your test is a mixture of free response and multiple choice. Okay, your typical do the problem and I grade it, giving you partial credit and so on. And then there's some where they're actual multiple choice. Okay, so here's your homework You can cruise down. This is all your homework for chapter 8. Only 16 questions. Again, I highly encourage you to do chapter 8 in less than 2 weeks so that you give yourself a little more time when we get to the 1 week chapters. Okay, so I would print this. This is just me, but you don't have to. But you need to write down the answers for question 1. Maybe you think it's B, question 2, C, and so on. I would do these as if there's no multiple choice answers there, and then find your right answer. Don't use all your multiple choice techniques of eliminating answers and so on. Try the problem, make sure you understand the concept, not just get the question right. The goal of the homework is not to get the question right. The goal of the homework is to understand what you're doing so that you get the question right. I know that seems like I'm saying the same thing, but the goal is not just to try to select the right answer. It's to make sure you can do that problem or those types of problems. And if you can't, make sure you ask. If you did the problem and got it wrong, and then you just circled another answer and guessed and got it right, that's not the goal. Ask questions on how to do the problem even if you got the right answer, but you don't know how you got the right answer. Ask to make sure you can do the questions when it comes time for the test. If you do 100% on the test and 100% of the homework and you fail the test, your grade will not be great. Your homework is only like 35% of the grade, and your tests are like 60% of the grade, 65% of the grade. Okay, so your tests are important. Homework's important. I mean, it's 35, 40% of the grade, but tests are more important, and you don't get to do it twice. You do get a page of notes. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but okay, I think I said enough on the homework. Do the homework to get it right, to understand it so that you get it right. There we go. All right, so we did the homework. Now, how do I submit it? So let's go back here. So we clicked on our Chapter 8 homework. We did our Chapter 8 homework, and now we need to turn it in. How do I turn it in quickly? We're going to do what's called a homework quiz. This is simply a bubble sheet. So I'm going to click on Begin. And remember, we just had all our answers circled or written down or something. So I thought question 1 was B, question 2 was C, and so on. And I just go through here and I fill it in like a bubble sheet. When you are all done, you click Save and Submit, and you're good. Okay, so notice over here as I click, I think question A is, or 3 is A. Notice this over here, this Save Answer. You don't have to click on that, just wait for a second, boom, it's saved. So don't worry if your computer crashes in the middle of this, it saves your answers. And I know you have it written down on paper too, but it does save them as you go. If I hit Save and Submit right now, it's going to warn me that I've only answered 3 questions. I have all these unanswered, but I'm not going to hit. Once you do hit OK, it's going to tell you which ones are right and wrong. How does it do that? It tells you how many points you scored on each question. Notice each question is worth 1 point. So if you got 0, you got it wrong. If you got 1, you got it right. So I'm not going to hit OK because then you'd see all the questions that were right and wrong and so on. Homework. You have basically 1 homework every week. So chapter 8, I'd get going on that right away. You have until September 8th to turn it in. Go to Blackboard, print your homework assignment, do the problems, go to the Blackboard, go to tests, and turn it in. Okay, let me get out of here. Click cancel. And let's go back. Okay, so chapter 8, chapter 9, chapter 10, 11, and so on. So we're at chapter 11. We've done chapter 11. I'm ready to start study. Oh, nope, sorry. I'm on chapter 8 homework, and I'm super confused. Or I just want to learn a whole bunch of stuff. I'm going to go to course content, and I have made, these are not internet made, these are my recordings I've made, recordings for every single topic / section in the optional textbook. I've made recordings for every topic or section for you to look at. So if you need have a question on the relations and functions, which is like 8.1, 8.2, if you have supplement function notations you need to work on. These are recordings that I've made for every topic that you need in Chapter 8. I've done some extra graphing practice and so on. Here's some more graphing practice. Graphing seems to be where we miss a lot of points. So these are all the recordings I've made. Notice they're between 10 to 20 minutes long. Oh, there's one that's almost 30 minutes long, but most of them are about 10, I guess 10 to 30 is a safe bet. 10 to 30 minutes long. Okay, so they're not horrible. If I wanted the most out of this course and I'm not confident in math, I may watch every single one of them. What is that? 10, 20, 50. There's about maybe 2 hours worth of recordings here, maybe 2.5. Not much different than going to 2 classes if you're going to a face-to-face course. Okay, and it's 2 weeks long. So you have 2 weeks to watch 2.5 hours of videos and to take the tests. You are not required to watch the recordings. They're there in case you need them. So you may want to try the problems and see what you can do. But you also may just want to listen to the recordings and make sure you understand all the stuff that you are expected to know for the chapter. Okay, so we've gone through Chapter 8. We've used our resources, we've watched the videos, gone to the Zoom meetings when we had questions and so on. And now we're going to the test. So like I just said, there's a lot that you're expected to know. 4 chapters is a lot of material. So how do I, as a student, narrow down what me as an instructor is going to ask? So let's go here back to course content. And let's cruise down here. And I have review worksheets. So I'll click on review worksheets. And again, Unit 1, Unit 2. So click on Unit 1. And I have Unit 1 review worksheets. I have these other ones in here just because it seems to be a struggle for some students, graphing linear and absolute values type stuff. But here's our Unit 1 review worksheet. Unit 1 review key. Unit 1 review recording. So here's the review. Every single concept that's on the test is on this review. Every concept that's on the test is on the review. If you can do the review, you can do the test. There are a lot of questions on the review. It is not required. Highly encouraged. There's 32 questions, but notice there's some A, B, C, D, etc. There's probably more like 70 questions. Okay, this one goes up to O. Your test will not be 70 questions long. I don't expect you to do every single one of these questions. I would, however, do at least 1 or 2 from every section. So notice in solve each of the following section, you have some inequalities, you have some absolute value, you have some double inequalities, and those you have some square roots. I would make sure I can do at least 1 of every type of problem. Okay, cruise through here, make sure you can do 1 of every type. Do you need to solve all 3 systems? No, unless you get them wrong, then yes, I would definitely try to solve all 3. Okay, so make sure you can do at least some of that, if not all of that. Just depends on the grade you're shooting for. How do you know if you're doing it right? So we go back here and we check out the review key. Don't go to the key too fast. Here's my suggestion. I would do the review like a test. Then I would use the review to grade my test. I would struggle through the questions and make myself try to figure it out like I would on a test. I would not jump to the review key to see, oh, how did he do that? Do it like a test. Make yourself think through it. And then if you get it wrong, okay, now go back, figure out why, email me, come to the Zoom meetings, etc. Okay, so now that we're talking about tests, let's go to the test. We'll go back here to the syllabus. Our first test has a 3-week testing window, September 30th through October 20th. Take the Unit 1 test from September 30th to October 20th. That's a 3-week testing window. You must take the Unit 1 test somewhere in that 3-week window. If you're a nurse, if you're a slope worker, if you work on the platform, etc., you are a shift worker and you're going to be gone 2 on, 2 off, 3 on, 3 off. Hopefully there's no one doing 6 on, 2 off. If you're doing 6 on, 2 off, you're going to have to figure out a place to do it at work. Okay, so this 3-week window gives you time to plan ahead and make sure you can take it when you're home. If you're not, if you have to do it at work, meaning like up on the slope or on a platform, I've been to both places. There are places you can find that are not quiet necessarily, but they're quieter, where you can take your test to the noise of the generators going on the platforms and the compressors and all that kind of stuff. But it's a fairly decent noise. It's not too bad. Okay, it's not people screaming and that kind of stuff. All right, my point is you can find time in that 3-week window to take the test. On the test, cruise back up here. Must be taken within a 3-week window. Whoops. I don't see all of my stuff in there. You can have a page of notes front and back, an 8.5 by 11 page of notes front and back. You can write as small as you want and cram as much as you want on there. I highly encourage you not to do that. Just write normal so you can find your stuff and you can read it, and you've done a lot of the notes. You know the drill by now. Okay, the tests are taken using the HonorLock software that was brand new during the summer course. During my summer courses, there was really no glitches. I was super impressed. It was way less difficult, I guess, way more user-friendly than RP Now. I didn't have hardly any issues. I didn't have any issues on HonorLock, and I do have a few issues every once in a while with the RP Now. So I think it's a good system. You do have to download the software onto your computer. It's a Google app, a Google extension. We'll talk more about that later. If you don't like that, if you don't want to put a Google extension, if you don't want to use the Google browser, you are welcome to take it at a testing center. So we'll talk more about that later. We got 2 options. You can take it at the testing center, any of the UAA testing centers, or you can use HonorLock. Okay. I know some of us are not happy with Google. I'm not wild about the fact that they require us to use Google, but if you don't like it, you can go to the testing center. Okay. All right. So there's 2 options. We'll talk about that later. But one thing to know is you get a page of notes. So go back to the review. If I were to take the review, I don't know where I have it. If I were to take this review, I would take the review with my page of notes and just sit down and take it like a test. I'd get my calculator out, I'd get my page of notes out, my scratch paper, and I'd start at it. Then I know what to expect when I get to test day. Did I do the review okay? Did I struggle through the review? It just gives you a good indication of whether or not you're ready. If you don't do that, if you just come into the test blind or cold, it may or may not go well. You don't know. Okay? That's just my suggestion if I were taking the test. All right. So we've done the review. We've gone through assignments. All right, that's pretty much the course. There is, I believe, oh, I thought it was there, in assignments, 1, there we go. And each unit, there's an extra credit opportunity. Unit 1 actually has 2. I'll talk more about that later. The Unit 1 extra credits are due at the end of the Unit 1 testing window. Unit 2 extra credit is due at the end of the Unit 2 testing window. So Unit 1 and Unit 2 are set up identical. So once you understand the procedure in Chapter 8, all of the homework should be good. Once you understand the procedure on the Unit 1 test, your unit test should be good. So that's pretty much the main links. We've gone through the course content with all my recordings. We've gone through all the assignments, all the tests. Oh, there's one more, sorry. The introduction quiz. Now that you've listened to the recording, maybe read the syllabus a little bit more, but take the introduction quiz. Make sure you can get 100% on that. You can take it as many times as you need to get 100%. It is simply my way of knowing that if you get a 10 out of 20, then you don't really know what's expected in the course. You need to be getting a 20 out of 20 so that you know what's expected in the course. Super easy quiz. It's just about all the administrivia stuff that we just talked about. Where to find the homework, how to submit the homework, how many unit tests are there, that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. I think I've hit everything. If you have questions, make sure you email me, let me know, and I'll get them answered. All right. Good luck, and we'll talk to you later.